Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. My sister pitched what seemed like the wildest idea ever, and despite my initial refusal, her persuasive skills turned my no into a yes. Our mother, standing beside her, was deeply involved in entering my sister into beauty contests from a young age. Her fixation was solely on winning, disregarding my sister's consent, costs, or family time. Gina, accustomed to the routine, grew weary of the pageantry and rehearsals, which were hindering her social life. Desiring an escape, she whimsically nominated me as a local beauty contestant, anticipating a casual day of fun. Surprisingly, I got accepted. Gina was well aware of my penchant for borrowing her clothes, a habit I developed even in childhood, trying on some of her pageant outfits. We even ventured out together, posing as sisters during our high school days, for nighttime drives. This familiarity with wearing women's attire wasn't new to me. In fact, I discovered a genuine fondness for it. On one occasion in high school, I playfully donned Gina's clothes to tease her about her lengthy preparation time, albeit only at home. However, time slipped away, leaving me no opportunity to change into my own attire. Encouraged by my mother and amused by Gina, I mustered the courage to attend school in that attire. What started as a prank swiftly turned into an unexpected situation, landing me in class wearing one of Gina's short skirts and a snug sweater. While most guys appreciated the humor behind it, understanding the ordeal of lengthy bathroom rituals, the girls weren't as amused. It later dawned on me that my ability to almost pass as my sister unsettled their confidence. Only Gina knew the depth of my feelings, keeping our shared secret tightly between us. Gina possesses undeniable beauty, though she remains unconvinced of it. Even after her recent victory in a major contest, doubts clouded her mind. However, she found herself caught in a difficult situation. Mom urged her to advance, and as the reigning champion, she was automatically enrolled in the next competition, pitting her against contestants from across the state. Winning that would secure her a spot in the regionals and potentially the national stage. The dilemma. Each level demanded more from the participants. The upcoming contest included a talent segment, an area where Gina lacked prowess. Despite years of lessons, she couldn't master the baton twirl or singing, which often sparked heated conflicts with Mom, leading to tense and sometimes hazardous confrontations. Mom overlooked Gina's sewing skills, relentlessly pushing her towards singing lessons instead. In contrast, I excelled at playing the concert grand piano, earning numerous accolades. Gina, aware of my past escapades in feminine attire and my earnest desire to leave the pageant circuit, urged me to take her place. She wanted me to step into her shoes. However, envisioning myself stumbling across the stage in heels and an expensive gown, then attempting to play the piano with long nails, made it clear that no matter how much I enjoyed embracing femininity, or even desired it, filling Gina's shoes was out of the question. As Gina started to resist Mom's demands, Mom's insistence grew stronger, resulting in a standoff between my sister's desire to quit and Mom's relentless push for her to continue. I admired Gina for standing up to Mom, knowing how much she despised those beauty contests, and I openly supported her decision. Then, unexpectedly, they united forces. Mom, having witnessed my previous escapades attending school dressed as a girl, speculated that I might be able to fill in for Gina if I chose to. Hence, both of them urged me to take Gina's place. While I had always sensed I could do it, like Gina, I detested beauty contests and brushed off the idea. Yet, here I am again, 3 days later, facing not just my sister but also my mother. Besides enduring their persistent pleas for me to at least consider it, my main dilemma stemmed from the striking similarities between Gina and me. We shared the same height, green eyes, and almost identical hair color and length. Oh, by the way, my name's Carl, but everyone calls me Keys because of my piano skills. Despite Gina and Mom's insistence, I staunchly refused to try on the pageant gown Gina had prepared. Although I enjoyed the sensation of wearing Gina's clothes, I had no intention of giving them any more leverage. Walking away, I anticipated their continued efforts, which indeed persisted during dinner. After nearly an hour of incessant nagging, I relented, but with a firm declaration that I would only wear the dress and nothing else. Gina expressed a strong desire to assist, but I declined, surprisingly backed by Mom for once. Mom insisted that we would try on the dress the next morning, ominously adding that I would wear whatever it took to get into it, signaling her determination regardless of my preferences. Golly, the anticipation was palpable. The next morning, right after breakfast, and without any fanfare, Mom dragged me to my sister's room, shut the door, and told me to strip, not to my briefs, but without anything. According to Mom, I should get the feel of the dress, which in her mind, meant panties and a bra. I did as she asked, put the panties and bra on, then stood there as she slipped the dress over my head, and as expected, she couldn't zip it up. I helped get the dress off and started for the bath to put my clothes back on when Mom grabbed my arm with one hand, the other holding out a corselet of some kind. My resistance quickly grew stronger, but with her evil eye, Mom managed to make me stand there as she wrapped it around me, fastened the hooks, then laced me in almost tight enough to drag the air out of me. When she slipped the dress over my head that time, she was able to zip it up, and I had a chance to see myself, once more in a dress. The bright emerald green satin dress flowed over and around me, the waist, my waist, was trim, accented by the flowing skirt while the low-cut top hinted at, but didn't expose anything. Mom used a brush on my hair, and almost without effort, she had turned me into a virtual clone of my sister. Putting on feminine attire was one thing, but portraying femininity was an entirely different challenge, especially in the cutthroat environment of beauty pageants, where competitors would do anything to secure victory. That's why I hesitated to embrace this role. I doubted my ability to pull it off, even though there were rumors of a guy reaching the finals once. I had no desire to attempt it. With Mom's assistance, I shed the attire and changed into jeans and a tee, eager to evade any further persuasion from Mom or Gina. Exiting the room, I sought refuge in my car and drove to the mall, hoping to distance myself from their influence. Yet, despite my efforts, the image I saw in the mirror lingered in my thoughts. Despite my determined denial, as I wandered through the mall, I couldn't escape the sight of lingerie, shoes, and dresses filling the storefronts. It felt like I had stumbled into a trap with no exit. Suppressed emotions surged back, overwhelming me, and I realized that my stroll through the mall had only intensified the inner conflict. The woman within me was asserting herself. Arriving home, I was gripped by tension, seeking solace in the quiet of my room. What troubled me most was how effortlessly Mom had transformed me into a convincing woman, surpassing any previous attempts Gina and I had made on our own. However, stepping in for Gina, even just for the talent segment of the contest, would be impractical and unethical. Gina needed to find her own talent quickly if she hoped to succeed. Despite her lack of vocal ability, Gina decided to pursue singing lessons while Mom focused on designing her costumes. I kept a low profile, and the topic of my involvement was never brought up again. Mom covered the substantial entry fees. Gina persisted in her practice, albeit with little improvement in her singing skills. With nearly a year until the contest, we remained hopeful that she would sufficiently improve given the ample preparation time. Growing up with divorced parents, I hadn't seen my dad in nearly a decade, leaving Mom, Gina, and me as a tight-knit family unit. We were considered late babies, with our sister being significantly older and pursuing a career as a trauma doctor. Mom had devoted plenty of time to us, but her entrenched habits occasionally perplexed both Gina and me. Approximately 2 months into Gina's singing lessons, a gunman stormed into the building where her lessons were held, resulting in a tragic shooting spree. Although the assailant primarily targeted the .com office within the building, stray bullets claimed the lives of innocent bystanders. Gina fell victim to one of these bullets, her life abruptly cut short by a senseless act of violence. The police discovered the man in his office, surrounded by an arsenal of guns, explosives, and detonating caps. His life ended by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Mom and I struggled to cope. Despite our frequent arguments, Gina and I shared a strong bond, and her absence left a profound void in my life. Mom, devastated by the loss, displayed remarkable resilience. After a month of mourning and adapting to the emptiness that now pervaded our home, Mom approached me with a proposition. "I understand how much you miss Gina, darling," Mom began. "And while we can't bring her back, we can honor her memory in a special way, if you're open to it." "What do you mean?" I asked, puzzled. "The entry fee I paid for Gina isn't refundable," Mom explained. I checked. They expressed their regrets, but no refunds were possible. "That's what I wanted to discuss with you." Confusion clouded my thoughts. "What are you suggesting?" "Well," Mom continued, "considering you can fit into her clothes with a bit of effort, I wondered if you would consider stepping in for Gina. It would mean a lot to her memory." "Mom," I protested. "The contest isn't just about talent, there's also the swimsuit competition." "I couldn't do that, even if I wanted to." "I believe you could, if you're willing to honor Gina's memory in this way," Mom countered. "But if you're not comfortable, we'll simply accept the loss of the money, and that will be the end of it." My mother had a knack for laying on guilt trips so thick that feeling good afterward seemed nearly impossible, and this instance was no exception. If I declined, she would lose the money, rendering all the costumes useless, and she'd never forgive me. Yet, if I agreed, I'd be thrust into a competition where I didn't belong, risking public humiliation and even potential legal trouble if discovered. It was a lose-lose situation, and I felt trapped in the middle of it. Furthermore, if I refused, I knew from experience that Mom would persist, piling on guilt until I relented, moved, or simply gave in. Relentless was the only word that came to mind. Yet, Mom must have considered all these factors before proposing it to me. Me, in a bikini? The thought sent shivers down my spine, imagining the laughter that would echo through the arena. After Mom left my room, I searched desperately for a way to spare her feelings, but came up empty-handed. It was then that I recalled the time I attended school dressed as a girl and observed the reactions around me. Instead of giggles, there was a quiet awe that silenced my friends and made the girls uneasy. The image of myself in that green gown lingered in my mind, igniting a sense of confidence that I couldn't ignore, despite my inner turmoil. If all I had to do was wear the gown, play the piano, smile, and walk gracefully, maybe I stood a chance. However, the thought of donning a bikini, the standard attire for such competitions, filled me with dread. I had always claimed to dislike wearing women's clothes, but deep down, I knew it was a lie. I had secretly enjoyed it more than I cared to admit, even to myself, which is precisely why I found myself in this predicament. If I agreed, Mom would likely see through my facade, and perhaps, so would the rest of the family. Mom had laid it on thick, and now the decision rested with me. If I agreed to do this for Mom, as a tribute to Gina, how could I express it without appearing weak, which is exactly how I felt as I reluctantly made up my mind to give it a shot. Leaving my room, I had to pass by Gina's room, still permeated by the lingering scent of her perfume, momentarily causing me to long for her presence. Her belongings remained untouched, the neatly made bed, the filled closets, the dolls arranged just so, cherished posters adorning the walls, and her locket resting on the nightstand. It stirred up painful memories, prompting me to hasten downstairs in search of Mom. Finding her, I hesitantly spoke up. "Mom, I've decided to do it, but..." "I knew you wouldn't disappoint us," Mom interjected before I could finish. "Gina would be so..." "Mom," I interrupted, meeting her gaze. "I'll give it a try, just to see if it's feasible. But if it's not, then I'm backing out, and I don't want to discuss it further, alright? Deal?" She didn't like it, of course, but she agreed. During my decision-making time, I had forgotten just how sneaky Mom was, which would come back to haunt me later on, but I was committed, and Mom told me that we would begin the next morning. Later, while I was out, Mom must have gone somewhere to get stuff that she knew we would need, but I didn't find that out until morning. The next day, right after breakfast, Mom and I went to Gina's room. Mom said that I should get used to it, since she wanted me to move into her room since she thought that I should feel like the girl I was supposed to be. Stripping my clothes off, I did not expect it when Mom handed me the bottle, pointed at the bath, and told me to follow the instructions to the letter, shave close, wash my hair, and she would be back in 45 minutes. One look was all it took for me to see the name on the bottle, and with a sigh, went in the bath. When I finally stepped back into the bedroom, I was hairless from the eyes down, and I felt more bare than ever. I had to use the lotion Mom gave me, and my skin, already smooth to the touch, became softer and even smoother. Wrapped in a towel, I saw Mom walk in, then, without any fanfare at all, she handed me some panties, which covered me and made the problem worse all at the same time. Taking a moment, I turned away, and fixed things so that at a minimum, I wouldn't embarrass myself. After that came the bra, a 36A, then a waist nipper, camisole, pantyhose, the blouse, and finally, the red and white plaid skirt. The pantyhose made my legs look longer somehow, and sexier, and to my great surprise, they had a great shape to them. The bra was one of Gina's, a push-up that seemed to grab the flesh on my chest, gather it in one place, and filled each cup almost full. Mom handed me a pair of short heels that I could see were new, and took me to the vanity. Mom offered her assistance, but I rebuffed her, seizing the foundation. As I applied it to my face, Mom observed silently. However, when I reached for the eyeshadow, she intervened, handing me the powder instead. Before I could proceed, she draped a sheet over my clothes and instructed me to powder everywhere I had applied the foundation. Once I brushed it off, my face boasted the smooth, flawless complexion typical of many girls. Without even realizing it, I found myself smiling at my reflection. Next came the eyeshadow, mascara, eyeliner, blush, and finally, lipstick. Remaining seated, I recognized that I no longer resembled myself, yet I didn't quite resemble Gina either. Instead, there was a close resemblance, like sisters. Mom then focused on my hair, skillfully wielding a brush, blow dryer, and curling iron to fashion a feminine hairstyle, wavy yet refined, with short bangs swept to one side. As Mom stepped back, I rose to my feet, turning to gaze into the full-length mirror. My long, shapely legs, slender waist accentuated by my burgeoning chest, and soft auburn hair framing my delicate features, all of it exceeded any previous transformation into femininity. Speechless, I stood in awe of my reflection. Mom and I lingered for a few more moments before she gently took my hand and led me to the kitchen, where I was surprised to find her nail kit laid out. Silently, I sat as Mom meticulously filed, cleaned, and painted my nails a delicate pink, finishing them off with a glossy sheen. By the time she finished, there was no doubt that I could pull off the transformation, as long as I didn't have to endure the swimsuit portion. Then, a realization struck me. Mom, how is this possible? Gina's death made headlines, so wouldn't the runner-up be the one to replace her, not me? And if that's the case, why am I doing this? I'm not even eligible. Indeed, you're not eligible for the specific competition Gina was slated for, Mom acknowledged, but you are eligible for the one scheduled in 2 months. If you win that, you'll qualify for the same contest Gina was meant to compete in. With a grin, she added, "See? You have ample time to prepare, and the entry fee I paid won't go to waste. Plus, this way, you'll have the opportunity to participate in both contests." Mom's sneakiness didn't escape me. She conveniently omitted the detail that I'd have to secure victory in the upcoming competition to qualify, assuming not only my participation but also my triumph. It seemed like a hopeless predicament, and considering she withheld crucial information, I should have immediately declined and informed her I wouldn't proceed. But I didn't. The words lingered on the tip of my tongue, yet something compelled me to remain silent. Whatever force urged me to withhold my objections now seemed to dictate the course of my life, a realization that weighed heavily on me. I reassured myself that my willingness to don the attire meant nothing, but I was mistaken, I just hadn't realized it at the time. Having witnessed firsthand the ruthlessness of the pageant mothers and contestants during Gina's involvement, I understood the stakes. If they even suspected the truth about me, I'd be fortunate if they merely tarnished my reputation. Mom remained unconcerned, but she wasn't the one tasked with this challenge. That burden fell on me, someone lacking the upbringing of a woman. To compete, let alone succeed, I'd need to embody the grace, softness, and femininity of my rivals, a daunting feat to achieve in a matter of months. It felt like an insurmountable obstacle. As I stood, I caught sight of my reflection in the hallway mirror, which offered a glimmer of hope. Without a word, Mom retrieved a purse and handed it to me, signaling that it was time to depart. When I inquired about our destination, she simply stated that I needed some assistance, and now was the opportune moment to seek it. Deep down, I had a suspicion of what awaited us, and when we arrived at my sister's office, my hunch was confirmed. Once again, I remained silent as my sister greeted us warmly. Despite being married with 2 young children, Sarah retained her youthful charm, and her radiant smile spoke volumes. Mom mentioned that you're stepping up to compete for the title. Gina had her sights on. That's sweet, and I'm certain she would have been thrilled at the thought of you doing this for her, Sarah remarked warmly. Sarah, why am I here? I mean, I'm not ill or anything, all I'm doing is. I'm going to help you look like a girl, silly. Sarah interrupted. Just a few minor enhancements and adjustments, and voila, you'll pass as a girl, at least for a while. And don't worry, it's all reversible. Well, except for… What? I nearly exclaimed. What can't be reversed? You're not going to. No, definitely not that. Sarah reassured me. The only irreversible procedure will be the laser removal of your body and facial hair, but trust me, you won't miss it. Sarah sounded confident, and once again, I found myself being propelled further down the path of femininity. But this time, according to Sarah, I would actually look the part. To my surprise, she then escorted me, leaving Mom behind, to another office to meet with a friend of hers who was a plastic surgeon. After the initial assessments, he instructed me to undress and lie on the table, informing me that I'd need to stay for at least a day, possibly 2, before being discharged. After signing a consent form, I felt the prick of the needle as it penetrated my skin. As darkness enveloped me, I couldn't help but wonder what on earth I was doing, but before my mind could conjure an answer, I slipped into unconsciousness. Despite numerous opportunities to retract my decision, assert myself, or simply refuse, I willingly signed the consent form. In hindsight, I must have been utterly out of my mind. Upon awakening, every inch of my body throbbed with pain, encased in bandages from my underarms to my hips. Attempting to sit up proved futile initially, but with the assistance of a nurse later on, I managed to rise. There was no mistaking it, I now possessed a feminine chest. Though tightly bound, the swollen contours on my chest bore undeniable evidence of the surgeon's work. Within a few days, I was back home, spending the subsequent week shrouded in bandages like a mummy. While the swelling in my face subsided, leaving behind bruised eyes and slightly altered facial features, I felt relatively okay. The most significant transformation was the absence of my masculinity, replaced by what resembled a typical female anatomy between my thighs. On Saturday morning, Sarah arrived to unveil the bandages, revealing my new chest for the first time. As Sarah assisted me to stand before the mirror, I beheld a chest that any woman would envy, a full B cup, devoid of any sag. My skin was smooth and velvety to the touch. Allowing my robe to fall to the floor, I observed my waist had slimmed slightly, my hips widened, leaving no doubt that once fully healed, my true gender would be beyond question. Catching Sarah's smile, I allowed her to help me dress. It felt surreal to don a pair of panties that fit perfectly, and the bra well, I filled it to capacity with some excess. Next came the blouse, skirt, and flats. My hair was unruly, but as I sat at the vanity to untangle it, Sarah intervened, securing a hairband that instantly tidied my appearance. A touch of lipstick sufficed, as no additional makeup was necessary. Exiting Gina's, or rather, my room to meet Mom, I noticed a subtle shift in my gait, accompanied by the peculiar sensation of my chest bouncing with each step. It was an unfamiliar, albeit intriguing, sensation. As I stood before Mom, a profound realization washed over me. I could no longer deny the truth. For years, I had harbored an envy towards Gina. Her innate femininity exuded an almost overwhelming allure, coupled with a gentle grace that defied explanation. Deep down, I had always yearned to embrace my femininity, a desire that crystallized after my bold venture into school dressed as a girl. Yet, my masculine pride had restrained me, leading me to suppress my longing to embody womanhood. That's why I hadn't resisted much, not for the sake of a pageant victory, nor for Gina's memory, or even to spare Mom the entry fee she had paid. It was for myself, a chance to reclaim the woman I had briefly embodied in high school and had yearned to be ever since. Every aspect of my external appearance had been transformed, from my refined features to my broader hips, fuller buttocks, and chest. As I surveyed myself, a sense of gratitude overwhelmed me. I felt like the luckiest woman alive. Yet, amidst this newfound euphoria, a part of me yearned to retreat, to reject what I felt, to allow my masculine pride to resurface and deny that this transformation was for me, not just for my sister. Mom studied me intently, her silence speaking volumes, while Sarah stood by my side, offering silent support. In the midst of this quiet exchange, I made a conscious decision to set aside my pride and surrender to the emotions coursing through me. In that moment, I relinquished control and embraced my identity as a woman. It felt as though I had shed a tremendous burden, and my entire demeanor underwent a noticeable shift. I could sense it. Heading into the kitchen to prepare breakfast, Mom and Sarah followed closely behind. We all knew we would need to adjust to the new identity I had embraced. However, when Sarah gently reminded me that I could revert to my previous male self whenever I chose, I felt a surge of conflicting emotions. In that moment, the truth threatened to spill from my lips. But at that precise instant, I realized I had no desire to return to being a man. After our meal, Sarah departed for her own family, leaving me alone with Mom. She must have sensed the upheaval within me, for she refrained from pressing me further. Retreating to my room, I closed the door and disrobed, needing to confront once more the changes that had transformed me. My hands explored my new chest, tender yet undeniably mine. As my fingers traversed my body, I traced the contours of my altered anatomy, marveling at its softness and newfound femininity. Though the regrowth of removed hair would prove a minor inconvenience, it paled in comparison to the overwhelming sense of fulfillment I experienced. Entering the bath, I indulged in a refreshing shower that left me feeling revitalized like never before. Taking my time with my grooming routine, I sat at the vanity clad only in panties, applying makeup with a sense of liberation I had never before experienced. Using concealer to camouflage the bruising around my eyes, I savored the act of adorning myself with makeup, free from any sense of shame. Donning pantyhose and a bra, I scanned my closet and selected an outfit I had always admired on Gina, a white and brown checked pleated skirt paired with a tan pullover. Opting for my penny loafers, I then styled my hair into a flippy pageboy with bangs. A touch of pale red lipstick, a spritz of perfume, and the addition of earrings completed my ensemble. Upon discovering Gina's wallet accidentally, containing various forms of identification, I transferred my belongings into it alongside my lipstick, grabbed a brown purse, and returned to the kitchen. As Mom laid eyes on me, she burst into tears. I understood why Mom was emotional. It was because I reminded her of Gina. Coping with those feelings would be her own journey, and all I could offer was a kiss, a brief handhold, and a hug before I left the house. My next destination was to procure makeup of my own and seek assistance with styling my hair. Heading to the salon frequented by both Gina and Mom, I patiently waited until I could be attended to. Conversing with the stylist about my requirements, I entrusted them with creative freedom. Alongside hairstyling, I indulged in a manicure, and once finished, I ventured to the mall in search of a makeup boutique. After the skilled hands of the makeup artists transformed my appearance, I emerged feeling like an entirely different person, both outwardly and inwardly. Empowered by my newfound confidence, I proceeded to purchase new panties, along with a few bras that offered a better fit. Venturing into the department store, I sought out a bikini, eager to ascertain whether I could embrace this garment without feeling exposed or self-conscious. After trying on several options, I settled on one in a striking red hue, its color complementing my skin tone while providing adequate coverage. Despite its minimalist design, I felt comfortable and confident wearing it, prompting me to make the purchase. Returning home, apprehensive about Mom's reaction, I was greeted with a transformed reflection in the mirror, my once auburn hair now a radiant blonde, styled in waves that framed my face. My nails, once short, now sported a slightly longer length with rounded tips, adorned in a rich plum hue. With my enhanced makeup application, I no longer resembled the timid boy I once was. Instead, I exuded the confidence and poise of a woman unafraid to embrace her identity. Entering the family room, I stood before Mom, waiting for her response. After a moment's pause, she offered me a warm smile. "You're simply beautiful, Carl. Turn around and let me see." I slowly turned around, then facing Mom again I motioned for her to sit down. "From now on you'll have to call me Emily, Mother. Carl doesn't seem to fit anymore, does it?" "Emily," she said, "such a pretty name. It suits you." The air grew thick between us, as I knew that I would have to tell her how I felt and why. Also, I did not want to be in any beauty contest, but I would do it if she asked me, which is why I bought the bikini. "Mom," I said, "I have something I have to tell you. I have always wanted to be a girl, and now that you are, you love it. Right?" Nodding my head yes, I also told her that I thought beauty contests were nothing more than glorified peep shows, then waited for the inevitable harangue about what I had said. "I was aware of that, Emily, which is precisely why Sarah and I presented you with numerous opportunities to withdraw. Losing the money would have been a setback, and had you expressed any reluctance, all you needed to do was decline. Yet, you didn't, so Sarah proceeded to arrange for those modifications and even covered the expenses. Given our understanding, or at least our intuition, that you enjoyed dressing as a girl, we simply extended the invitation, and you accepted it. If this is the path you wish to pursue in your life, I won't stand in your way. However, as charming as you appear, I sincerely hope you reconsider participating in the contest. I'll take it into consideration, but I'm not particularly enthusiastic about it, Mother." Mom let the topic rest, but both of us still had a lot of adapting to do. Just a few days earlier, I had been living as a man, and suddenly, I wasn't. Achieving something I had often pondered brought me to a new reality. Each day, I grew more accustomed to my transformed body, learning to navigate life with a feminine chest that altered my movements and the loss of the ability to stand for relief. Concurrently, I began to remove traces of Gina from my life, not her memory, but some of her belongings that had caused me anguish upon sight, like certain pieces of jewelry and a selection of dresses. These items found their way into Mom's room. By the end of 2 weeks, I had sifted through all of her clothes, retaining only those I could wear or desired to keep. I even tried on the bikini 3 times. With each viewing, I discovered another reason to accept that I truly looked good in it, and I started to feel that participating in the competition might offer a means for all of us to come to terms with my sister's passing. When I agreed to participate, Mom assumed a commanding role. She meticulously took my measurements, and together, we embarked on a shopping spree to acquire gowns of my own I adamantly refused to wear my sister's. Subsequently, I embarked on an intensive training regimen encompassing walking, hand movements, speech, and more, amounting to 5 hours daily in addition to my piano practice. I dedicated myself to mastering the art of standing tall, walking with confidence, projecting my chest, and avoiding the demeanor of a stereotypical airhead, unlike many of the other contestants. Mom and I toiled diligently, and as the event approached, a sense of tranquility washed over me, and I embraced my preparations. I carefully selected my music, ensured the gowns were tailored to fit perfectly, acquired appropriate undergarments, indulged in numerous bubble baths, and applied copious amounts of lotion to attain soft and supple skin, ensuring I was fully prepared for the upcoming challenge. On the day of the beauty contest, I opted for jeans and a simple top as we entered the hall. We were greeted by a woman who informed Mom and me that each contestant had to undergo a medical examination. She explained that every participant had to disrobe to ensure no males were infiltrating the contest. While assuring me I needn't be concerned, she mentioned rumors of male entry, prompting them to take precautionary measures. Suppressing a chuckle, I complied and underwent the examination. Remarkably, without any physical contact, I was cleared. They remained oblivious. Backstage, chaos reigned supreme. When my turn arrived, I gracefully glided onto the stage in my gown, fielded a few trivial questions, and later, during the swimsuit segment, fulfilled my obligations. Smiling, I paraded down the stage and onto the small platform, ensuring everyone had a clear view. Upon its conclusion, I couldn't shake off a sense of degradation. Despite securing second place, which meant I wouldn't advance, I didn't dwell on the outcome too much. Upon returning home with Mom, I retreated to my room to contemplate my next move. I grappled with the choice between reverting to life as a man or embracing my newfound identity as a woman, which I surprisingly favored. However, I harbored a deep disdain for beauty contests, which arbitrarily crowned winners based on outdated notions linking a woman's physique to her intelligence, a sentiment I found nonsensical. Conversely, my talent as a pianist offered a path forward as a woman, free from societal judgments. Yet, I yearned for independence and authenticity, which necessitated obtaining my own identification. Reluctantly clinging to Gina's ID hindered my ability to properly grieve and let go. Within a month, our lawyer facilitated the legal change of my name, and I proudly possessed a new driver's license bearing the name Emily Blunt, a bold proclamation of my womanhood. Over the following months, I pursued various scholarships and secured admission to a prestigious music school, commencing that fall. While Mom struggled with the idea of my departure, we recognized the need for space to facilitate my transformation into the woman society perceived me to be. Adapting my personality to align with my new identity became a paramount concern, underscoring my eagerness to embark on this educational journey. Despite growing comfortable in my feminine form and learning to appreciate my new physique, I grappled with deficiencies in my social skills as a woman, particularly in interactions with men, though I couldn't deny entertaining the thought. As I packed my belongings, I encountered the bikini, and without hesitation, I stowed it away in my suitcase. Our parting with Mom lacked tears, and I eagerly anticipated the opportunities awaiting me in the future. 2 weeks into school, I crossed paths with a guy named Ethan, sparking a budding romance. Our shared classes, coupled with his skill as an oboist, served as the foundation of our connection. Through Ethan's patient and gentle guidance, I embraced my true femininity, traversing a journey of self-discovery that culminated in moments of shared intimacy, an unexpected turn of events that, nonetheless, brought about undeniable pleasure. Embracing this facet of my identity, I willingly indulged in satisfying Ethan's needs whenever the occasion arose. Amidst this newfound bliss, I couldn't help but acknowledge the profound gift bestowed upon me. I had finally become the woman I had always envisioned, complete with a devoted partner by my side, instilling a sense of wholeness within me. However, I couldn't ignore the reality that Ethan, or any future partner, might desire more, especially in the context of marriage. It was this realization that prompted me to reach out to Sarah. Many are familiar with my professional persona as a concert pianist, boasting numerous albums and a coveted status within the musical community alongside my husband. However, divulging our identities would unravel the mystery, wouldn't it?